Welcome back, fishing friends, to another adventure. It is Classic Week, and I'm so excited to be able to get down to Fort Worth and to be able to participate in the expo, shop for lures, and do all kinds of cool stuff. And of course, see the anglers fish. But today, I'm out here at the Buffalo Hole, trying to catch some fish, have a good time, just relax. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate the support. My name's Alan. I'm usually catching or fishing to catch something. Sometimes I make other videos too, but we're gonna get started. And got my usual setups, my St. Croix, my loose speed spin 300s or 30s, depending on what the model number is. My Sunline 12 and 12. But let's get started and have some fun. Alright guys, pardon the wind, but I'm going to be throwing this Damiki BTC50. It's a Bryan Thrift type deal. I think he might have helped design it. Don't quote me on that. It's pretty much a silent bait except for the hooks. It's got a cool translucent color. This works really well for clear water. And when I say clear water, you know, visibility of 3 feet or better, which is probably not accurate, but that's the way I look at it. If I can see at least 3 feet, for me it's clear water. But this thing casts pretty good. Just throwing it on the Mojo with a loose speed spin 300. It's got great buoyancy, so it'll come up to the surface. And you just run it through there. I also have the BTC50 that at some point I'll test out. But this thing's a lot of fun to throw. I just kind of pitch it around and let it do its thing. Alright guys, on the BTC60 from Damiki. Check this out. That's a nice fish right there. All right guys, there we go. Beautiful fish right there. Let's let him go. And under the dock he goes. That's what I'm throwing right there, the little BTC50 from Damiki. It's a cool little bait. Little square bill. Not much noise, just the hooks. Just pitching it around. Easy to cast. Look at that. Good stuff. Oh, I just had a fish come up and pop it. I don't know if you saw that, but he didn't get it. There's a big swirl right under it. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I like throwing the Damiki line of stuff. DC 300s, 200s, 100s. They're all excellent lures. This is in that great craw color, guys. The one thing I like about this, it reminds me a lot of balsa. The buoyancy of it. And it's got great color down in the water. It does look like a craw once it gets down in there. And the thing casts a country mile. Got a little bit up in the wind there, but... And I just do a typical crank. Just stop, let it pop up. Sometimes I'll even give it some twitches. Never used this lure before. Ooh, did you see that right there? There's a lot of carp in here, so that may be a carp, but you never know. There's also big crappie in here. Big catfish too. I guess he didn't want it. It must be, there's a big carp in here. Look at that thing. It just casts a country mile. It's just so smooth. It's got a nice wobble. So if you haven't tried it, definitely pick one up if you like throwing square bills. Yep, this is going to be a keeper for me for sure. Thumbs up for this little lure. Man, just that action. Whew. All right, boys, we're hooked up on a straight king red eye shad in that sexy shad chrome color. Shallow water. Just dropped it right on top of him. There he is. Ooh, he's barely hooked. Let's see if we can get him. There we go. All right, guys, check him out. There he goes. One last look. Good stuff. Let me show you what I was using. So I was using this guy right here, dropped it right on top of him. I mean, it was like instant bang. Look at the eyes on there. And that chrome, man, it's a good lure. All right, guys. So I'm gonna test out, I've never thrown a pig stick from Crush City before. So we're gonna try it. I'm using this bubblegum color because look how nice it shows up in there. And I've got it rigged old school, just right through the meat of that thing. Look at that castability. I'm just gonna let it do the work. There is some grass down there that I'll have to pop it through, but we'll see how it does. Give it time to sink, and then I'll twitch it a little, let it sink. I usually count between 10 between pops. There's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then sometimes, like in the summer, I'll just keep popping it over and over. I don't know what that racket is over there. Somebody's having a picnic. Yeah, I never throw this bubblegum color except for this time of year, really. The water is decently clear, about 3.5, 4 feet. I was doing this one time with a yum dinger. I had a massive crappie come up and hit. But that wasn't at this. Ooh, oh! I had one, guys, and he let go. Oh my gosh. He took the whole thing, guys. Look at that. There's a bit of a scale. Holy cow, I don't have another pink one. Let me check and see. All right, guys, I've got one more. So what the deal is, oops. There we go. I've got the main pack at home. I got a whole bunch of them, but oh yeah, that's gonna work perfectly. But for transport, I only have a couple of them of each color. Man, I felt a whack, and that was all she wrote. It could have been one of those funny carp that just hammered it. They have like a weird mouth. Sheesh. But that was like bang. crazy stuff, but that's, you know, makes it fun because you're trying to figure out what's down there. I was like, oh, and then there was nothing there. Crazy. Yeah, like Lake Fork has a good little weight system. You can put it in there. BMC has those little plastic deals you can slide on, and I've got that little tool with me, but sometimes I like to rig it just to see how the bait does initially with just a hook running right through the meat of it. Yeah, that was crazy. Boy, it has been so windy over the last week, and then today the wind is out of the north still. Just, I'm wondering how it's going to affect the Classic. I think they postponed one day of the kayak series. I think it's out on Lake Fork. So the fishing will start for the Classic tomorrow. I don't think they'll cancel. They kept talking there's a chance. You just got to let them go for it. Oh yeah, check that out. Good stuff right there. All we got to do is just catch one. When I was here with my brother, he was throwing a cola colored Senko, and he had a massive strike, didn't get him, and then he had another strike about 5 minutes later and got a nice bass in. The other thing is, guys, when you're throwing one of these stick baits or Senkos, keep an eye on your line, because you'll see it start moving. It's windy today, so I just got to be real careful with that. And sometimes I just, you know, go for the feel, like I did on that big one. See how the wind's plowing through here right now? I'm going to fire over by those little paddle boats here in just a minute. See if we can get something lurking over there. Check it out, guys. Do you see it? It's a giant whopper plopper. Stuck in there pretty good. Come on. There it is. That's one of those big, what, 110s? Let's get this line in a safe place here. I'll pick that up in just a minute. I'm gonna let him lay here and dry out. I'm gonna walk this shoreline and see if I can catch something. It drops off pretty good. Actually, this may be a good spot to throw a square bill down through here. But I'm trying out this new bait here. I always find lures out here. Oh, that wind. Stiff breeze. Alright guys, I'm throwing one of my modified Meps Aglia with a little Berkeley power stinger, that power bait power stinger on the back of it. Just cranking through here. I was looking, I saw one bluegill bed, but nothing with the bass. looks good. I was testing a couple lures and I got one snagged. I gotta be careful here. I got trees right behind me. I don't want to get hung up in that. So yeah, I thought it was a strike and it was a stinking snag. Must have been on a big boulder down there, because most of the stuff I can pull it through that grass. I love throwing these little modified maps, guys. They're so much fun to rig up a single hook. They don't get snagged too often. There it is right there. You can just whip them around. These you can fish up in the water column, like almost like a prop bait or a wake bait up on the surface. You just bring it in faster. You can crank it real slow down on the bottom, or you can bring it right through the middle of the water column. I've caught them on all different. There's one. Oh, and I missed him. I missed him. Dang it, I missed him, guys. That might have been a crappie. It was just bang. Dang. Well, that stinks. Let's go right back in there. So let it sit there, kind of drop down. Wait a little bit before I start cranking. Out there it's about 20 feet deep, but in here close it's about 10. So I try to aim for the middle to bottom. I had a bluegill following that. That was funny. All right, so I'm gonna keep working this area here. I may also throw like a big jig, Danny Brower structure jig, and drag the bottom with that. Threw some other stuff, guys. Had the bait caster throwing a CJ flip, and then threw another little jig bouncing along the bottom. No luck, so I'm back to throwing this little modified MEPS. Look at that thing. With that little power bait, power stinger on the back of it. Just working the grass line here. It goes out and then it drops off real quick. You can kind of see there's cabbage through here. I'm also casting out deep because I keep seeing little pops up there. I think it's a crappie. The crappie will hit this. We've caught them before on it, but there's also carp that are working around. Yep, I'm excited about the classic. I don't know when this video will post, but man, I'm gonna look forward to seeing all the vendors. Entered into a mustache contest with Missile Baits and John Cruiser putting on. I don't think I'll win, but you never know. See here, since I'm out of the wind, it's calm, but once you get out, I've got this huge dam here kind of protecting me, but once you get out away from it, don't kid yourself, man, it is breezy. Look at that thing. Golly. Oh, I had a thump, guys. Dang it, that's two of those I've had where I've had thumps. This has got a single hook. Come on, man. You can hit this. You can get this thing. I know it's a fish because it's a quick whack. And then the blade stops spinning. Maybe a small bass. All right, as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, I will see you then. Bye-bye. Now get out there and get your lures wet.